listening to It's All Good, Magic, Mysticism, and Earth Medicine. Check us out by visiting www.magicandmedicine.blogspot.com. I'm your host, Dr. Candace Nady Green.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of It's All Good, Magic, Mysticism, and Earth Medicine. Today's episode talks about energy vampires, challenges, and psychic protection. And I thought that this was a good time to talk about energy vampires, as energy vampires don't necessarily have to be people. They can also be things that take up our time, that suck away our time right now, our time. And I know that right now many of us are in very stressful situations with the pandemic and going back to school or doing virtual learning. Also, politics seems to always be on our sphere as something that can cause stress. Not only that, but also the Black Lives Matter protest. I know someone who went to yesterday, did a peaceful protest. It was just she alone. She held a sign, and a Trump supporter who was participating in a hateful rally across the way in a public park just made a beeline across the street and punched her. That's awful, and it's very stressful. So before I wrote this, I didn't really think about energy vampires being things, and I didn't really concentrate on that because I felt that, well, we have enough stress, so let's just concentrate on something we can do something about. So energy vampires, or you can call them energy dumpers, because they suck the life out of you and they dump things on you. They often show up unannounced and they beat you down with their drama. They're very detrimental for empaths. I know I am guilty of allowing these type of people to come into my sphere because I don't want to be mean and I don't want to hurt people, but they come in, and I had to learn how to not allow myself to sink into their drama, to cut it short, and to listen without feeling. And that's a hard skill to master, let me tell you. But for empaths, it's energy vampires. Allowing them in is very detrimental because we empaths take on the energy that is being put upon us, whether or not we want to. We usually want to be kind, but what we actually are doing is hurting ourselves in our progression along our spiritual path. If our pores are clogged with this gunk from this vampire, this energy vampire, then our pores are not clean and we're not relaxed so that we may do the work that we have to do, and so that we help others who really need us and that we can really actually help. As I said before, I'm guilty of falling prey to these energy vampires who just dump and go. And when they dump and go, that what they're doing is freeing themselves of their negative, gunky energy, and then they disappear. And that would annoy me. It's like I felt so used. They dump on me and cry and all that nonsense, and then they disappear, only to come back when they need help, when they need to dump again. And that's not a friend. And it's not right that you're the dumpster that they're putting their garbage in. Because after a while, what happens when you keep putting junk in a dumpster? It gets smelly and stinky, and there's flies buzzing around, and all that stuff like that. So no, it's gross. And we shouldn't allow ourselves to be a dumpster. Okay? Because what they're doing is think of it this way. They're taking their bag of smelly garbage and they're putting it on your doorstep. And if they keep coming back and putting garbage on your doorstep, and this garbage has poop in it and diapers and all sorts of nasty stuff and flies buzzing around, what happens? Your own doorstep becomes disgusting and gross. And you collect it. And what happens to you when it piles up? You get sick. Okay? You get sick. You're collecting the trash that is accumulating on your doorstep. Instead of taking that mess, putting it on the curb, and leaving it there. And another characteristic of these energy vampires they are often thankless. They are inconsiderate of your time and your space, and they're very self-centered. The world revolves around them. Their issues are the most important issues of the moment. They don't ask how you're doing. They don't ask, is this a bad time? No, they dump and dump and dump. Okay? And, I haven't really shared this with a whole lot of people, but once upon a time, I was an energy vampire. And I didn't realize it until I became well into my 40s. I'm 44, so maybe I realized it in my late 30s that I was at one point one of these people. I remember it was not right for me to take someone's time. I remember in college how I would call my friends and dump on them, dump, because I had no one to talk to. Even my journal wasn't satisfying me, and that's what I did, and that's not right. They had to study, they had to work, they had lives. I had no right to put all my garbage on them. And so it's no wonder why, then I became recipient of other people's garbage. I suppose it was my karma playing out. But now I see clearly both my errors and what other people are doing to hurt others. Maybe not intentionally, but it's just because they're desperate. They have this feeling of desperation where they think that they have to put their stuff somewhere. They have to tell someone that they're going to explode. And it's very tiring and very draining. And, they make no effort. These energy vampires make no effort to try to change their negativity, as though on some subconscious level they enjoy or are comfortable or are accustomed to their chaos. They always seem to be in the middle of some chaos, some dramatic event. And I'm going to say, what I learned to do. And I'm still working on it. Sometimes I'm a sucker still. But I realize that it is detrimental. Allowing someone to dump on you can be very detrimental to your health. And I spent 3 days in a hospital because of such person who kept coming by for consecutively in a week, just popping up and dumping on me their drama. Although I had kids to get ready for bed, we had to eat supper, get ready for bed, and I do my whole nighttime routine with the kids where we do our share and meditation and story, and that's very important to my children. And this person was infringing upon that time. And that's not right. My kids running around pajamas, and it's just not right. So you got to be kind. Always be kind. But you must reinforce barriers. I'm busy, or, I'm in the middle of this. Don't be afraid to say that you're doing something. I realize that as well. Choose to not be available. or cut the conversation short. And that the person, if you have to sigh when a person comes and they start saying their stuff or you start feeling tired, that's an energy vampire. Okay? They are those who cause you to feel tired just by listening to them rattle on and on and on and on. They are those who continue to swim, and yes, I say swim, not drown, in this sea of turbulence. And even when the ship arrives to save them, they discard the life jacket and they jump right back in the turbulent seas. I mean, they'll come, dump, and leave you burdened with their mess as they swim back to where they have always been. Everything is about them and their drama. Although sometimes they seem like they break down your barriers or your guard by luring you in with feigned compliments, tears, gifts, and acts of desperation, only so you can be open to receive the ginormous dump. And I wrote an article about it on the blog of the show blog, magicandmedicine.blogspot.com, so you can check that out, read some stuff for your information. We want to be kind to these people, and we should be kind and nice. But as spirit people or people on our own spiritual journeys, we can allow this chaos energy, and that's what it is. We cannot allow this chaos energy to permeate our being because it clogs our own pores and it prevents or hinders us from doing our own work. We give continuously. That's what we do as spirit people. But what energy vampires do is they take just as much as we give or more than what we give out. It's as if they're sucking the life right out of you. I remember I was in college, right? Not the time I was being an energy vampire, but the time I had an energy vampire, and I felt really bad for this young lady. She was from Wisconsin, and her parents told her never to come home, not to come home for the Christmas break and things like that. So she was very depressed. But I had just worked the midnight shift, and I had the day, I think it was on a weekend, I had the day off. So I was asleep. I was sleeping. 6 o'clock, and I had this little apartment. I lived down the street from the college. At 6 o'clock in the morning, my doorbell rings on a Sunday. I was not happy about that. I was in my pajamas. I was groggy, and there she was at my door. And because I was so exhausted, I just told her, and I was in my pajamas, I did not let her in. I said, I just want to go to sleep. Please, I worked the midnight shift because I was working 2 jobs, 2 jobs and going to school full time back in college because that's how I had to pay for 4-year college. It wasn't cheap, and books and all that stuff, and my rent for my little apartment. Back then, it was $400 a month. That was a long time ago. But anyway, that's what I did, and I felt bad for being mean, but I was also very tired. So I remember that, and I was later nice to her. I mean, at that moment I wasn't. And even recently, there's plenty of stuff going on recently, and I still have to remember, don't engage and put up barriers. And if you allow them to suck all of your energy, then you won't be allowed to truly help, love, and support those who are not energy vampires and who really, really need your help. Now, energy vampire protection. Then there's the non-magical way and the magical way. So let's talk about the easiest way for most people, the non-magical way. Just plain and simple. Don't be available for them. Okay, you're not available. Don't respond to texts, phone calls, emails. And, one of the benefits of COVID is, in regards to energy vampires, is that you don't have to allow anyone in your home. You say, look, COVID, you're not coming in. All right. You don't have to let them in your home. And, especially with me being in my situation, I'm high risk. So it just makes things a lot easier for me for not allow people in. And also during the summer when it's like 90 degrees out and it's humid and hot like it can be up here in the Northeast, which is dreadful. I get sun sickness. I get really, really sick. And heat, all of that affects me. And it's just really frustrating, but because I have to stay in the house at certain hours. But it's good because I don't have to be lured into listening to anyone's drama outside. I don't have to go hang out with anyone, nothing. So that's good for me. And that's the good non-magical way. So those are just some simple things. If you have more, I'd love to hear about it. You can post it on the Facebook page, or wherever you see the show listed, or also on the article. Respond to the article. That would be great too. So let's talk about magical ways. I remember the old folks, the elders, who would always talk about sprinkling salt around the exterior of the home. My grandmothers, my aunts, all of them. That's what they always did then. When I was a kid, they always were sprinkling salt around the doors, especially the front door. Always. And it's something that I still practice. Not many people know that. I know some of my neighbors may have seen me do it and was like, what's she doing? But I don't care. It's all right. I'm weird anyway. It's fine. In their eyes, and that's okay. But I still do that. And, it's to prevent what the other people would say, bad energy. Is prevent bad energy from entering the home. It stops them right there, blah, blah, blah. So that's something I still practice today. But I do a step further. I pray over or bless the salt before I use it to sort of give it that magical energy. I do put my energy in it. You can also use water that has been consecrated or made holy. You can do it yourself. It's all about intent. So you can do it yourself. I do that when I do readings. I always have consecrated water next to me, and what I have is salt that's already been blessed and prayed over, and I keep it in a jar so it's all there. And then I put it in the water to consecrate that water, and I stir my finger and I use it for an intent. Now, you can, you don't have to go to, high mountain or church or somewhere to get water that has been consecrated. You can do it yourself. And you can sprinkle that around your home, your door, your vehicle, your body, to keep it away from you, to keep negative energy away from you. And that's really something that I truly believe in, and I've seen it has worked for the old people in my family, my ancestors, and I still do that today. So you could do that, and you don't need a whole bunch of salt in it either. You get a teaspoon, tablespoon, depending upon the size of the container that you're keeping the water in. You bless it, anoint it. You anoint your home exterior. I include my property and the yard. I just go all the way around, and I say, a prayer in myself. I say some words or prayers to the ancestors, the guides, etc., whomever you call on for assistance, right? You can call on whoever you call on for assistance. Call on them, and to protect you, your family, loved one, property, space, vehicle, whatever, from any and all negativity or chaos energy. That's what I call it, chaos energy. Send it back from whence it came so that it does not invade your space. I do recommend this book, and I'll put it in the show notes. It's called The Art of Psychic Protection by Judy Hall. It's not just about energy vampires, but other spiritual or psychic attacks you may encounter. for the possible attacks that you could experience or be vulnerable to. So it's a really good book. It's very helpful. I highly recommend it. Remember that magic is about intent and creating change. Don't go into doing magic with any negative thoughts, thinking you can't do it. You should think, I can do this. I have the power. I can do this. I have the power. And believe that so that it can work. There are other ways in the book that there are other ways mentioned in the books, The Art of Psychic Protection by Judy Hall, to strengthen to keep energy vampires at bay. And a couple of things she mentions is tie cutting, cutting. I like that magic. That has worked for me in the past. And also strengthening your aura, making your aura stronger. And I haven't really focused on doing that one, but I have done the cutting, which I know a lot of magical people have done when they want someone to go away, who's an energy vampire. And it's very simple, and it does work. Doubt. If you have any doubts, doubt will only cause the magic to be less effective. And you don't need that when you're dealing with an energy vampire. You need your energy to work your own magic and to create your own medicine. You also need to keep your vibration up as much as possible, so not to attract or be open to any energy vampires who may be looking for someone to serve as their dump site. You may think that's comical or that's funny, but let me tell you, it's true. They are looking for someone that they can latch onto and be like, oh, we're BFFs, and none of that. And what they're trying to do is just dump on you. That's not a friend. I'm sorry. It's not what friendship is about. Your friends help friends with issues and problems and stuff like that, but energy vampire is a whole other different ball game. And you definitely have to be prepared so you don't lose your own stability. And another thing, okay, so that you don't fall prey to these type of people, don't let yourself get too tired, overworked, or stressed, frustrated, because this causes us to weaken our guard. And if you become too tired, then we can't do our protection spells, and thus we are left wide open and vulnerable to being prey not only to energy vampires, but also to any who seek to lower our vibration or attack us psychically. Now, I wanted to say I'm probably in a few days, I'm going to have a psychic cleansing from the book, Judy Hall, and that may be posted to the Facebook page, so keep an eye out for that. Check it out. It will be pre-recorded meditation, so for psychic cleansing, which will greatly help you when it comes to dealing with energy vampires. So remember, it's not an insult that someone's an energy vampire, but it's not an insult to them. You don't need to tell them that they're an energy vampire. That's not your duty. You can't fix them. You cannot fix them. So please, that's a mistake that we empaths make sometimes. We think that we can fix people, and we can't. That's not our job. We are not here for that. We are not. We are on our spiritual journey, making stops along the way to gather knowledge and to develop and transform, to evolve on our way to oneness. And it's a journey consisting of many stops, many transformations, evolutions, dimensions, levels. Okay, our soul lives forever. Our body goes through many changes, but our soul gathers up many knowledge and things that we need to either help those in different dimensions or different planes of existence, and eventually become ascended masters, get up there, and then back to oneness at a vibration that's so high that it transcends all form, all sound. And that's what we're doing. So the energy vampires, they'll eventually learn what they are doing and look back, maybe. Look, I did, so I'm one who can tell you that it does happen. And I did, and I changed. So they can too. But it wasn't anyone else's job to help me. That's why they have professionals out there, psychiatrists, and all of those are the people who are, psychologists, therapy groups, all of those things like that. And they have all different types to suit all different walks of life. The resources are out there. They're online, especially now during COVID. I know one of the radio shows talks about Better Health. It's an online community, and that's really good for especially during this COVID time when you cannot go in person to many places and you don't want to be sitting in a room with someone who may or may not have the virus and be asymptomatic. So that's a resource for them. It is not your job to do that. If you're a professional, that's a different story, but still you might want to consider not serving someone in a professional context, because that's another way you can get sucked into it, because they can play both sides of the fence with you, and that might jeopardize your personal relationship with them as well as your professional relationship with them, and that no one wants to do that. So be safe out there, everyone. Remember to take care of yourself. Don't get too tired. Don't get too hungry. Rest as often as you can so that you're strong enough to continue your spiritual journey, to continue the work that you're doing upon this wonderful planet of ours. Thank you for listening. Remember to check us out, and blessed be.
Thank you for listening to It's All Good, Magic, Mysticism, and Earth Medicine. Visit us anytime at www.magicandmedicine.blogspot.com.